What is up, fam? Agent O here with a movie review, and it's a doozy of a movie review because this movie technically is not out yet. Through a mutual friend, I got the chance to watch Expendables 3, and I have to say this is the best one out of the whole trilogy. But yeah, I'm just gonna jump right into this review because I just got done watching it, and I mean, the first two movies were, I thought they were really good, especially if you're a fan of, old 80s action flicks. This is a swan song. This whole trilogy's been a swan song to the whole, 80s action movie era. And the first two movies were really good. They got progressively better, in terms of, like, script and action sequences and, characters and whatnot. But this third one, I mean, to me, it really knocks it out of the park. um, it's all these movies have always been like, good, explosive fun, and the kind of fun that you don't have to like actually turn off your brain, to watch in order to watch them, because you know how some action films like Transformers, excuse me, um, those are so stupid that I can't not watch them and turn off my brain because it's so bad. It's not so bad. It's not even good. It's just really bad. But this film, they keep things really simple, easy to understand, but in that simplicity, in terms of the plot, it's still an enjoyable movie. Of course it's somewhat predictable. You're gonna have, there's a conflict, there's gonna be a huge action sequence, and I don't care about that because it's all about getting there. Even though this stuff is gonna happen, it follows these plot points that every action film follows, but you kind of, those that doesn't really matter to me, because it's what they do with those plot points and how they execute them. That's what keeps the formula alive, basically, and keeps it fresh and interesting. And this movie does not disappoint. I mean, right from the very beginning, it just starts, and for like a good 20 minutes of the film, a little bit over 20 minutes, it's just going, and even when it slows down, it's still good. It doesn't slow down to where you're like, oh God, when are they gonna start shooting? It slows down, and there's character exposition, there's dialogue, there's development with a lot of the new characters. They develop the characters a lot more than I've seen in other movies. And it's not like they're not they're a little bit more than like one-dimensional characters, because you have such a huge cast in this movie. You can't devote all that time to developing every single character. I don't need to know about all of their lives. I just need to know enough about what motivates them to do what they do, and this movie delivers in that. This movie has the strongest script out of all three films, just in terms of how the film all comes together, how they tell you things without having to over explain everything. We know Barney Ross had a past with, what's his name, Stone Banks, and it ended on a bad note. And he thought he was dead. Now he's alive. He's going after him to finish him off because of what he did. And that's all you really need to know. I don't need to know about why the guy became corrupt or whatever, even though they briefly explained that too. But it's enough that you get why they're doing what they're doing, and that's really all you need. You don't need any more than that. So anybody who's complaining about there's not enough character development or these guys are so one-dimensional, it's because that those aspects of these characters' personalities are not that important that you need to know about every single thing about them. So that being said, I thought throughout all three movies, their banter and the team dialogue amongst each other was really good. But in this movie, it was like the best. I mean, their banter was like really, really funny. Their execution and their comedic timing was really on point. And I was just laughing every time somebody opened their mouth and said something. Even there's a ton of one-liners in this movie. You have some classic one-liners and a little spin on a classic one-liner. You'll know when you hear it. I'm not gonna tell you because this is the spoiler-free portion of the review, but you'll know when you hear it. and you'll laugh because it's still funny, and it's still, if you're a fan of 80s film, action films, then you'll know exactly where it comes from and how they're using it and why it's all funny and all that. So yeah, I mean it's cool. That's all good. Like I said with the pacing, not. I mean, I don't want to sound cliche when I say that the movie just does not slow down for that first like almost half hour. The pacing is done really well in terms of balancing the action with story and downtime and exposition. Um, the Like I said, there was some really tight editing too, especially during the chase scene in the first 20 minutes of the movie. I mean, I mean, it's just I'm really blown away because I knew it was going to be good, but I was surprised that it was just this good. I really liked the way they edited a lot of the stuff. Now the fight scenes, not so much. I still felt like there needed to be longer shots, and not there were shots in the fights in some of the hand-to-hand combat scenes where it would go from just like it'd go from a ground shot to all of a sudden you're up above looking. It doesn't really break the it's jarring, but it doesn't break like film rules when it comes to how you cut. You don't ever lose your sense of space in the film when you're watching it. But I just wanted to see more combinations, and a little less cuts. I don't mind a lot of cuts, but it's good when you space out when it's spaced out in between some intricate, combos and movements and stuff. And they delivered in that sense with this film. I mean, come on, you have Wesley Snipes, you have Ronda Rousey, you have Victor Ortiz, you have Randy Couture. You have all these guys who practice martial arts and they fight in real life. So when you see them combo somebody the fuck up, it looks good, and they don't disappoint. They did do one thing that I'm tired of seeing, and that's they had Ronda Rousey's character do the jump on the person armbar takedown move. I don't wanna show it because I might get flagged for showing copyrighted material, but you'll know it when you see it. The only difference is they had her. She jumped on the person, then kind of pushed off the wall and went into the move. And yeah, it was different, but I'm still tired of seeing that goddamn move. Like they need to stop doing that. I know now it's become kind of like a special move amongst like people who do action movies. It's not like one. You know how like Jet Li and Donnie Yen, they would have like a specific move. Like Donnie Yen has like the jump back kick that he would always do in his films, and Jet Li would do the little scorpion kick and the Wong Fei Hung stance at times. And but this is like a trademark move that like everybody does, and they've done it. I swear, almost I think in all three movies. I'd have to watch the second one again because I can't remember if they did it or not, but I know they did it in the first movie because Stallone did it. And kudos to Stallone for doing that, because that's not an easy move, and he pulled it off. But I'm tired of seeing that move. They do it too much. Stop it, goddammit. Just stop it. Do something else. There's tons of other mixed martial art moves that you could do that look just as cool on film. Do something else, damn it. Stop being so unimaginative. It was. I have to say, I'm a big fan of Wesley Snipes, and it is just really good to see him back in these kinds of movies. I mean, I watched a bunch of the stuff he did after the Blade movies, and some of it was good, some of it wasn't so good. But it was nice to see him in a good old action flick, just handing it to people like Passenger 57 style. Just folding motherfuckers up and kicking them. It was great, and his performance. I mean, he always he's a great actor. I don't care what anybody says, despite his whatever he does in his personal life. He is a good actor, and to me, there was times, especially when he first gets introduced, it was times where he was just stealing the show from some of the other actors in the movie. Even when he wasn't talking, he was doing something. Like, either he was praying or he was, I don't want to give too much away, but, he had prayer beads in his hands, and he wasn't saying anything, but he was doing something that was specific and unique to his character, and I really, really dug that. most everyone was just kind of sitting around, listening, or it felt like they were kind of waiting for their acting cue to speak up and say their line. But him, he always felt like he was just there, like he just knew. I don't know. He just knew. He just knows how to fucking do what he does, and he acts, and it's great. So I was just really happy to see him back in the film. I loved his little rivalry with him and Jason Statham because they're both knife welders and they're both good at what they do. Um, that was awesome. I don't want to, I don't really have that much more critique wise, like to say about the film. It's really good. Everybody serves their purpose well. Antonio Banderas is very, very energetic, and I know some people will say, "Oh, he just kind of sounds like he's playing his Puss in Boots character," but I really didn't. It really didn't seem like that to me. Maybe he turned up the the accent a bit too much, and that's why people say that he sounds like Puss in Boots. But to me, he felt like a different character because Puss in Boots was not very energetic. He was energetic, but he wasn't as like this guy was hyper in this movie. Like he was hyper and would not stop talking, and I really dug that. I really liked his character in the film. Um, Ronda Rousey does a pretty good serviceable job for not having seen her in too many movies. She does a good job. All the new teammates, they all did a pretty decent job. It was good, but and if you hadn't had all the vets, the Dolph Lundgren, Snipes, Statham, Stallone, Couture, all these guys, and Schwarzenegger, Jet Li. Jet Li had very few lines, but even the lines he had, he executed them well, and they were funny, and they were amusing as fuck. But and that's where the vets kind of overshadowed the new school cats that were brought in the movie. Not to say that they didn't do a bad job; they did a pretty good job, but they were just outclassed by all these actors that have just been in it. They've been in it for a long time, and so they know they had the chemistry that the other team kind of lacked. Um, like I said, it's not a bad job at all, but that the new school, the younger cats did, but they were just outschooled, by the vets in this movie, and it shows. At first I was like, man, I could watch a movie with these guys, but I was kind of a little annoyed that they took out, the original team so soon in the film to show, to give the new team some screen time. Because I was like, man, I want to go back to the old timers because these guys, this is where it's at. But when it all came together, it all worked, and it all makes sense. And I understand this for the story and everything. And it was good. I don't really have that many complaints about the film. Um, my only gripes, and we're gonna get into spoiler territory now because we're getting into the plot and some of the things that happen in the movie. So if stop watching at this point, so you can be surprised for yourself when you go see it in the theater. But I'm gonna jump into spoiler territory, so you've been warned. All right, now, like I said, like I was talking about with the fight scenes, I really wanted to see Wesley Snipes have a really good one-on-one fight, kind of like what Ronda Rousey and Jason Statham had at the end of the film during the huge climactic action sequence. The whole final battle was pretty damn good. Um, Tons of explosions, lots of stuff just going on, and it was great. It was a spectacle, but it was a good spectacle. It wasn't like the spectacle that you saw in like Iron Man 3 where you just saw a whole lot of stuff happening, but none of it, when you look at all the little individual pieces, it's not really all that interesting. This is the exact opposite. When you look at all the little pieces of the action that's going on, it's all interesting, and it's all fun, and just enjoyable to watch. The fighting that you did see was pretty good. I was disappointed that Jet Li had a very little screen time in this film. I understand that he has health problems at the moment, at the time of the filming anyway, and that's why you didn't get to see him fight, and that's why he was hardly in the film, which sucks because I'm a big Jet fan also, and because I love Hong Kong films, and Jet's one of the best to ever do it in the film industry. So it sucked not seeing him being able to fight, but they put him in there, and they found a way to make his character useful in the movie, and that's all well and good. So, um, like I said before, Mel Gibson, he does a good job. Really, no complaints with his character. I mean, he's good at playing a crazy role or playing a crazy, character. And they even made a slight reference to his recorded outbursts. They didn't come out and talk about it or anything like that, but they actually referenced it in the movie, and it was actually kind of funny. Um, Even though the actual event was not funny, but they made light of it, and kind of in a way to tell you, like, hey, we got to move on from this, whatever. Take that for whatever you will. I have my issues with it, but like I said, as far as its execution in the movie, it was done right. Now there is one last thing I want to add in about the plot. That's spoiler ish, or it's spoiler territory, but I didn't really care for the fact that they had to have another character get injured and taken out of the film. I.e. Terry Crews's character. He's a great character. He looks good on screen in this film setting, and his character is funny, and he adds another dimension to the team. And it kind of sucks that he wasn't in this movie as much as I would have liked. Um, I don't know whether it was due to scheduling issues or something. Maybe he had some other project going on, so they had to do that for the script in order to fit him in the movie, but then at the same time make an excuse as to why he's not in the whole movie. But it kind of sucks because we had Wesley Snipes and Terry Crews in a movie. Like how often do you see a movie with a team that has more than one token black character? And this time we briefly got it. It was like, oh my god, we got it, and then all of a sudden, nope, you don't have it anymore. I'm not trying to bring race into this film or anything, because there's Hispanic characters in here too with Antonio Banderas and Victor Ortiz. It was just like, oh my god, we were so close, and then no. So it better be a good excuse. There better have been a scheduling conflict or something. Because if they just did that purely for plot sake, then that's stupid, because it was unnecessary. We already covered that in the last film. It doesn't seem like a good move on their part to tread old water again, or go down a path that was already gone down, from the second film. Especially when you have Stone Banks's character, who was so bad and has done this such an evil thing. That should have been motivation enough for everybody to be like, yo, we're with you, Barney, we're gonna go get this guy. That should have been motivation enough. So that's basically my issue. My one really, it's not even really that big of an issue. It's more of a nitpick, if anything, about the plot of the film. It was one of those, oh, we had to have another unnecessary tragedy, because it makes sense. These guys go out and they fight war and they kill and blah blah blah. So it's not, they're not everybody's always gonna make it home, in one piece or alive. So we get it. But these guys are supposed to be the best of the best of the best, with honors. If you get that movie reference. So it makes sense that these guys could go into the shit and come out alive. And you see it coming to action at the end of the film, when literally they fight an entire army with tanks, helicopters, and this is like 10, 14 people at the most if you add in Schwarzenegger's, Jet Li and Harrison Ford's characters, because they come in kind of as the rescue team. So it's like 13 people total, and these guys are fighting an entire army in a dilapidated building and murking them all. So we get why these guys have been able to survive for so long and come back from the kinds of stuff that they end up doing. So yeah, that was just my other gripe. There were tons. I mean, just tons of little things that I don't even want to give away too much now, man, because since this review is so early, it's going to be so early. I don't want to talk too much on it, but you have to see this film if you like action movies. I'm just going to cut it off at leave it at that. If you like action films, you're going to want to see this movie. They do the damn thing with this, and if this is the last one with with Stallone and Couture and Snipes and all of them, then they chose to go out on a high note, and here's hoping that when the next Expendables movie comes out, they've got a bar that's been set by these guys that they're gonna have to meet. So hopefully, because I heard this was Stallone's last movie, I don't think he's gonna continue with this franchise. But I heard that the power, I guess the other people involved um, on the business movie end are going to move on with the franchise because they want to do the Expendables with an all female team. And I mean, I heard some stuff. I hope it turns out good because I like a good action movie and I want to see some females really throw down and kick butt. But some of the stuff I heard was kind of whack. And if they're going that route, it's gonna bomb. I think it's gonna bomb because it's not something I want to see. And I think a lot of people would agree. But yeah, this film is good. I got nothing else really to add. It's hard to critique a movie when they do a good job. So that's a good thing. So yeah, I'm just gonna end it right there at that. I'll catch you guys on the next review. I'm Agent O and I'm out. Peace.